Hi folks, welcome to yet another episode of Photo Australia. We've talked about many things in our short journey thus far, and we're really pleased and proud today to welcome aboard a chap I met back in 2009 at a Pentax workshop in Utah, a chap by the name of James Camozzi. Welcome, Jimbo.
Hey, Grant and Brad. I've been following you guys. I like your podcast, and it looks like I got a few to catch up on what we talked about earlier. But I kind of like this. We've been thinking about doing a similar thing here in Canada with a couple of our buddies, right? Because we're getting into more printing and doing stuff, and I think it only helps us if we get other people on and ideas. So this is good. You guys are doing a great job, by the way.
Well, thanks, Jim. I think you've picked up on what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to be the perfect presentation of software packages and all that stuff which are a dime a dozen on the internet. Heaps of those around for various things. We're trying to be a little more personable with it, and touch on the grounds that the enthusiast, the amateur like you and I, we've both come into photography reasonably late in life, and yes, we've had a great journey with it. And that's how we met. We were both on a workshop, really trying to find our place, I think, in the world of photography. That was certainly my intent of going on that trip, was to try and understand where I sat. Was I wasting my time? Did I know a little bit and too much to be dangerous? Or what I needed to do? And yeah. So Jim, just go back for our viewers, just a little bit here. You're in Canada?
I am. I'm just out of Vancouver, Canada, a little community called Maple Ridge. We're probably an hour from downtown Vancouver, which is right on the Pacific Ocean. We're about 1.2 million in population in the surrounding area. Weather is quite nice. We don't get a lot of snow or cold here like you'd think you see pictures of Canada. It's we're right on the ocean. We're quite warm, and so we really don't get that cold in the winter. Very little snow, but if you fly into Vancouver, we're surrounded by mountains. So it's a type of place where you could ski in the evening and golf in the afternoon in the winter. It's kind of a little different.
Wow, bit different than here, Grant.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful location, and we've lived here for most of our life. So
yeah. Well, looking at your website, Jim, it certainly is beautiful. It is amazing, and I am insanely jealous of what you've got at your doorstep. Having said that, we have beauty in our own style, but
absolutely,
you have some truly spectacular sites that appear to be quite close to you.
Yeah, we are lucky. Of course, I'm only about 6 hours from where we were in the Rockies, so
yep.
Which is really, I can be there in a day, and it's probably some of the most picturesque sites in the world. But just my back door, our mountain ranges we have in the forest, and we have some very large trees and cedars and spruce, and I mean, most people in the world don't get to see this, and so they look at that. For us, it's like normal stuff, like you with kangaroos, like you see them all the time. But for us, we're very fascinated by that, right? So
yeah,
no different from photography. But I've seen some stuff that you folks do, and I go, wow. I mean, I need to get down, and Grant's been trying to get me there for 10 years. So
yeah, yes.
And so I mean, as much as we look at each other's areas and are enthralled by them, really, we each have something that's very unique. So I think you have to capture that when you're in the area, no matter where you are, right? And but yes, we're very lucky to see. We just got back from a trip last weekend. We're doing some waterfall shots, and we're just gorgeous, right? So really, that's only 3-4 hours from where we live. So we've got a lot with a very short drive, right? And it's a good drive. It's not like hard knock drive in the woods or whatever. highway most of the way to get to this. So
yeah.
we are lucky, and crazy. We don't take advantage of it enough sometimes in your own area, and I think we forget that as photographers. We're so quick to head out to some other site or other province or other country, not realizing how much is right between our two posts. And I think if we spend a little bit more time at home, maybe this pandemic has helped people spend a little bit more time closer, especially photography. Found some new areas to shoot, and we're always looking for new areas locally, right? So that's a key. We'll spend a day not even shooting. We're just trying a new area just to see where the road takes us, and if there's anywhere we want to shoot later on.
Yeah, I look at it a bit like fishing a bit. Quite often I'd see fishermen, they've always got a fish on the other side of the lake instead of looking at what's right out the front door. So photography is a bit the same. We always think that we've got to travel, and I fall into this problem quite often where I think I've got to travel somewhere to take good photos, and you sort of forget that you get so used to where you live and the scenery around you, and then people come in and go, my gosh, what gorgeous scenery you got. And you go, oh, yeah, it's not too bad.
And what do? We always go back to our favorite places because certain times of the year they're better, or a sunset or sunrises. And I got one location I probably shot 150 times, and it's different every time.
Yeah.
And it's 5 minutes from my house. So, you guys have some beautiful locations. Australia, I do want to get there. It is on my bucket list, and I'm retiring within a year here. So I know Dave and I have talked, as you know, Grant, about doing a trip and seeing you and Ann, and we definitely want to put that on our list of things that we got to do, right? So.
Yep, Jim. You and Dave only have to tell me the flight number and the time, and
I know, buddy.
I will be there.
I know that, and I think our last trip through the Rockies I'll remember forever. So that's going to be a tough one for you to try to beat because it was quite the trip. So,
you think we can do it, Grant?
Yeah. We can. We definitely can. Actually, we have a place. We have a place here in South Australia called the Flinders Ranges.
Okay.
And very different, very much outback, but a real jewel in the crown. So that is where you will be going, amongst other places, when you get here. So really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that.
Me too, Grant, as you know. So
yeah.
We've got plenty of kangaroos for you too.
Well, unlike you guys, you're trying not to hit them. I'm trying to take pictures. So I mean, I'm fascinated by your country, and everybody worries about the snakes and all the spiders and all that. But to me, that's just, you never hear that stuff really. I mean, other than on the, you guys know how to deal with all that stuff. So not really worried about that.
It's basically whoever can run the quickest, and you just leave whoever's lagging behind. They're the one that gets taken by the snakes or even the kangaroos.
I was telling Grant I lost 106 pounds, so I can run a lot faster than I used to. So, so Grant, I'm sorry, you might be behind me now, buddy. So
yeah, I think so.
Well, it might be a toss-up between
both of us. I was hoping to see some Cooper's beer here or something. That's all I hear about is this Cooper's beer. So
I'm sure Grant will have you sorted out.
Absolutely. Jim.
Well, I think we should have a look at some of Jim's photography, don't you?
I think we should. Yeah, let's go and have a bit of a look, Jim, at what you do, and you can talk us through a couple of your favourite sites. And
if you go to the newest images, that's my latest stuff, right? So
right, okay.
Well, here we go. So if you hit the middle button there, view, and then the newest images it should be the top, the left, right? There we go. So that'll give you my newest stuff, right? So
okay.
Geez, you got, just even looking at the thumbnails here, you got some great stuff here. What one would you like to talk about?
It would be great because, see, Jim learned on a Pentax.
Oh, don't you start with me, Grant. It doesn't matter what you use.
Okay, guys. I mean, I agree that I've been in this only since about 2007 or 2006 I started. And I could tell you that the camera equipment has nothing to do with the picture, guys.
Exactly.
And you know that.
Exactly.
They're all good equipment today.
Yep.
Mind you, it would have been slightly sharper
Oh,
with
here
a
we
Nikon.
go. Having said that, Brad, this will make you happy. Jim now shoots with Nikon. So
Oh, well.
I've been like that. I still got my Pentax gear, believe it or not, my K20 and my lenses.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I do bring it out once in a while just for a giggle.
Yeah.
But the files are so small, it's hard to work on these days.
So, Jim, if you're looking for a place to stay when you come over here, now that you're a fellow Nikon man. All right, let's have a look at some of these photos.
Before we do,
Go ahead.
you know, one of my lasting memories is that evening in Capitol Reef. I think about the first or second night we were there. The first night we were in that little restaurant, and you and Dave walked in to the rest of the group. And then I think the second night we went out to do that astro shooting with Mark. And hi, Mark and Dave. Don't worry, guys. You're coming. You're going to be on Photo Australia as well. That's guaranteed. In fact, what we'll do when we get this bedded down, we'll get everyone back. Okay?
That would be fun. That would be fun. I haven't seen Mark for a while. Dave and I are going back to the Rockies this fall.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yep.
But one of my most lasting impressions in the world of photography was that evening we're doing the astro shooting. We've set up all our tripods. We're standing there in a line, and there was a bit of a movement next to me where Dave was standing, and there was a sound, and it was a horrible sound. Do you remember it, Dave? The sound of metal hitting ground and plastic. No. And Dave hadn't put his camera properly onto the tripod, and it fell. It hit the deck, and I'll never forget the look on Dave's face. He was absolutely shattered, and I had a little cooler with me, and I had a couple of beers in it, and I reached down and I took one out and I pulled the top off and I handed it to him and I said, "Mate, you'll be right." And he took it. Don't think he cried, but I think he was close. I think he was close to it.
Well, he just so you know, I dropped the D700 in the ocean in Iceland, so I know what you're talking about, and that was toast. So never let go of the tripod when there's waves coming in. But
right.
Anyway, so the good thing about it, I got a D800, a D850 now. So
okay,
but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah. So the waterproofing on the D700 wasn't quite up to scratch, Jim.
Not the salt water, no.
No.
Funny about that when you just throw it straight into the water.
I did that, and we'll get on to your images in a second. I did that last year. I bought the new K1 Mark II.
Oh yes.
And I was down at a local beach here with some people, and I put it out. The tide was going out, and I'd set the thing up on the tripod, and I picked up my camera bag to take it back off the waterline where the tide had been receding. And I put the bag down, I turned around, I'm probably 10, 15 paces from the tripod, and a little rogue wave was on its way in, about knee high. And you just knew you weren't going to get there in time. I sort of took a couple of steps and thought, oh, damn. So it washed through the tripod. This was about the first outing or second outing of this camera. Right. And I thought, oh, God, it come about probably half a metre up the tripod, maybe a bit more. And I kept inching back as it kept coming towards me. I thought any minute it's going to topple and over, it's going to go. No, it didn't. Held its ground. All was good. So, but so close.
Mine was crazier. When mine went in, I watched it slowly go down. You know what I went for? The lens cap. So, tell me why I would worry about a damn lens cap going away. Like 700 sitting in the water.
Yeah. I'll ponder that, Dave. So, Dave, Jim.
You got Dave on the brain.
No, I have got
Jim,
Dave on the brain, haven't I?
So as you can tell by my That's okay. But as you can tell by my photography, I like a mixed. I'm not really set on one genre, or like I do like to shoot just about anything. But if you got any questions, or if you want to go through some of these, I'd be more than happy to discuss them.
I'd like a little more information on your new drive, Jim. This one.
Oh, okay. The car.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
opening.
so when did Mrs. Camozzi allow this to be purchased?
Well, it's not mine, but I can tell you what happened is we had 10 guys get together to do a photography trip, and it was not too far from where we live, and we had a buildings that we're in, staying for 3 days. And we wanted one of the things that we do light painting. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but we basically shoot these things at night, pitch black, and we go around with flashlights and paint different areas of the car, and then we composite together in the software later on. And this is one that so everybody wanted to learn that process. And somebody says, well, a friend of mine's got this Chevelle SS, and he says, let me see if you bring it out. And he drove it all the way out an hour, and we took this. It was about a 2-hour shoot to shoot this in pitch black. And so this is light painting. This is probably a composite of about 100 different photos that were lit up in different areas of the car that we put together, including the inside, as you can see, that's been lit up. So, and of course, they're probably running about a minute per shot because it's pitch dark and we're just lighting different areas. So it's fun. If you I've never done this, you have to try this. We're going to continue to do this, and we got a Corvette we're going to do next that just won a Best in Show, so we're going to redo that. We're going to do that one for a buddy of mine. Okay. This was shot with my D850.
Yeah. And as you can see, Jim, there is a motoring interest here behind us that we do get out there, and we've got a really great circuit about an hour's drive from us here.
I think you've done pictures of that. I think I've seen pictures of you doing those.
Yeah. It's called The Bend, and it won a world best circuit in the world for 2019.
It's a nice circuit.
It's a very new circuit, and it's a brilliant thing. So good stuff. Well, Brad, I'm keen to know more about this. Okay, there we go. So,
something to talk about off camera.
Yeah. So what we did for this fellow that we brought his car out, we printed one and we gave it to him as a print, right? So that's kind of what we do if we use somebody's vehicle. We'll print this, and now he wants it reprinted on aluminum, which we're going to do.
Okay.
That will look good. That will look really good,
and that will look fantastic.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all the rage, Jim. Metal printing over there.
It's getting more. I mean, my buddy just got a beautiful one down to the Sunset. So it all depends on the type of picture you're taking. I don't think it works with everything, but high contrast tends to work better with the aluminum, and they're probably quite reasonable now. You're not paying much more than you would for a good size print, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it has. It's come way down now. So, but I can just with that bright red and all those chrome pieces. That's gonna look awesome.
Yeah, this is. I'll have to send you a picture when we get it done.
Yeah, please do. Please do. I'd love to see it. All right, let's have another look here. Geez, you got some nice landscapes too.
Isn't this the forest scenes here? Aren't they? Just
they're just
walking around in this stuff would be absolutely awesome. All the moss and
that's about 2 hours from my house, and it's quite a walk in there. It's quite steep, so you got to be in good shape. But some of these are the largest cedars in the world, and I think there's some pictures in there that some of them are, 12 foot in diameter. They're huge, right? They're 500-600 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful in there. And usually get good light. We go into overcast days or rainy, even rain. It's raining, right? So, we love this. One of my good buddies that does photography with me, we go every Sunday. He grew up in the forestry business, and so his passion is trees. So we're trying to get the one tree here, and we've tried 3 attempts now. It's quite a haul in, about a 3 kilometer, 4 kilometer hike over these trees, and it's not a flat road. And so we swore we're going to get there next time. And it's one of the largest trees of a certain species, and he wants a picture of it. So we're heading back. We love this area. So
one thing I noticed also, Jim, is these sorts of shots can be quite difficult unless you sort of have a fair bit of experience. You've actually used, because you walk into a forest and you go, how the heck can I capture something in here? Because there's just so much detail, so many logs and whatnot. You're actually using the tree on the left and the tree on your right as almost framing the angles in the middle. And
that's correct. That's correct. And you're trying to keep the eye moving, as you know, right? That's the key, is to keep the eye moving.
It is. And there's a lot about, and I'll go on about this a fair bit, and I've been in my club a bit, actually, just recently, going on about the light. And it's very important to not only have a good composition, which you've got here, where you've got it framing and leading your eye in with the angles of the logs, is that you've also controlled the light, where you've taken the distraction off from the edges of the screen and you're pushing my eye into the photograph, which I think it can be overlooked very easily in a lot of people's photography. They get the composition, they get the shot, but it can look a bit flat, or the light pulls you out of the photograph, whereas you need to be brought straight in, and you've done that really well.
And it's not hard to do, I can tell you, because it's just a little bit dodge and burning here. Like there's, nature doesn't always give it to us, but we also know that we can add some light where we want it and add a little dark to frame the eye a little differently. So part of it is also processing, Brad.
Yep.
So
Yep.
So you got to be careful not to overdo it, as you know.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, it's easy to do, and there's such small adjustments, but it makes a huge difference, I find, in photography, where you look at it and they've got, especially when you're in sort of a bit more of a mute type lighting where everything's all the same tone. Whether that be in the middle of the day, but you're in a forest here, which gives you well, you've got a bit of shadows going on anyway in this scene. But when you've got mute lighting, it can make the photo look flat, and you need to control the light just in little areas just to push your eye into the photograph and see the detail, which is great. You've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, you've done enough for this. You probably know where I've added the light, and because your eye goes kind of to those areas, and that's what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah, spot on.
But at the end of the day, that's what it's about, isn't it? Producing an image. This is down here, either one of those two.
Which one? That one there?
Yeah, that one there.
All right.
Yeah. And so often you'd see a shot like this with the sky poking through in the background that would be burnt out.
I'd see that a lot, actually. But it's once again coming in close and targeting one subject. You're in. I've seen it quite. Actually, we went to our camera club went to Deep Creek recently, which is in the middle of a forest type scenery, similar, or I won't say the same as this. We haven't got the moss like this has got, but and people wandering around going, well, what do I photograph? It's a nice trail to walk, and quite often they'll take a photo and it's got that much stuff in it that quite often you need to, it's all right to have a story shot of where you are and what you're taking, but to actually go in and actually pick a detail of the forest, whereas here you've just focused on the base of the trunk and the fern coming up from the bottom. To give that point of interest to that, as soon as you see it, you know what you're looking at. It's not over busy. The background's just nicely muted out on the background. And it's just picking a detail shot that you don't normally see a lot of the time. And that's what you got to be hunting for.
And the other thing I like that you've done, Jim and Brad, if you can just go back to the others.
Sure.
Something that we often don't do, but we should do a little more of, I think, and that is present a bit of scale.
Having people.
And with a red shirt. So
always got to have somebody with a red shirt.
You've got to have the red shirt or the red cap.
Yeah. That's my buddy who we go every Sunday with. Now this guy's got equipment. I don't even want to go with equipment he has, but he's a really good shooter, and he's actually a professional, and he's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And so we always try to, on a shot like this, add somebody. He adds me, and if you look at some other photos, I'm in it. And, so though I use my camera, I just did it on the time delay. But we always like to add for scale, especially a shot like this. Really shows you something, like you just get an idea of the enormity of this thing, right? Without it, I don't think it does the same, right? So then you have the ferns kind of leading up to him. So it's all about your guide, right? So,
It is. It is. It's and you've processed it that way as well. There's never any doubt of where your eye just goes bang straight to where it needs to go. And same thing. I've said a few times that people always try and get somebody out of the shot and not have a person there, but people can be great for exactly what you're saying, Grant, is showing scale. And quite often, even like at waterfalls or anything that's quite large, even like at Uluru, same sort of thing. The thing is so massive, every photograph, it looks small. But it's that missing that sense of scale that, a lot of photographs, when you're trying to portray something big like this, that's what you need.
Yeah. Now, Jim, just clarify one thing for me. I was walking through a forest in Oregon on the coast with a friend of mine who lives over there, and he said something about the moss growing on one side of the trees. Is that correct, or was he having a?
Yeah, it's usually on the north side, right? Yeah, it's always on the north side, right? And it's just because it gets less light, right? So. And so the moss within, now this area here, that's not true because it's so condensed in there and there's not a lot of sun comes in. But you're right, most of the moss that you'll see, especially in the Oregon area, will always prominently be on one side of the tree.
Yeah, right, okay. Oh, well, good, excellent.
It's amazing. Look at all the moss just hanging off the branches, and that's incredible.
So we're going to leave that episode right there. Jim will talk about in the next episode about his nature photography, which is quite interesting. So this will be a 2-part episode, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.